my little Brushflies, welcome back to my channel Brushfly MUA. If you're new here, hi, my name is Mercedes and I'm the face behind Brushfly MUA, and if you are new, remember to hit that subscribe button, and if you're not, welcome back, make sure you're subscribed. And today is a different sort of video, so I'm going to do a get ready with me style video, have a little chat about the makeup I'm testing out, and also have a little chat about my endometriosis story, because March happens to be Endometriosis Awareness Month, and a few people have encouraged me to sort of tell my journey with endo. So, you know, I might not go into too much detail because it is still quite personal, it's still quite private, but I thought I could sort of have a little chat and also test out some new makeup too. So the makeup I'm going to be using in this video is new makeup that I have not tested myself, but some of it has been gifted to me from a friend or family. So yeah, I thought I would just test out some new makeup that's sort of sitting on my side and I haven't had a chance to test out in other videos because for whatever reason. So I thought today would be the perfect time to try it. So I need to get my fringe out the way because I need to foundation my face, as you can tell. So yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, so my fringe is out of the way, full on egg going on now. The first thing I need to try is this. So this one is the Body Shop Insta Blur Primer. It's a mattifying one. My lovely friend Ellie has given me most of the products I'm going to try in today's video, or quite a lot of them. So yeah, I'm going to go in with this one first. So if you don't know what endometriosis is, it is a not very nice condition to live with. It's where the cells on the inside of your womb grow on the outside of your womb. That is quite like a simplified version of it. And every time you have your period each month, normally the cells in your womb would sort of break away and then come out as a period, which is, you know, lovely conversation. But with endometriosis, the cells are somewhere else in your body, like around your bladder or on your diaphragm or on your ovaries. So when it comes to the whole bleeding time, it doesn't come out, it has nowhere to go, so it causes horrendous pain. So this actually reminds me of like a number 7 primer, a bit like the Airbrush Away one in texture. And the next thing I have to try is this. So this is a Burberry Fresh Glow Golden Radiance number 2 Luminous Fluid Base. I'm guessing it's like one of those things where you mix it into your foundation and it gives you like a really nice sun-kissed kind of glow. That's what I'm guessing. So I'm gonna put one pump on my hand because that is really dark. Like, wow. I think I'll leave it at that. And then that was also from my lovely friend Ellie, and so is this one. So this is the Urban Decay All Nighter Waterproof Longwear Liquid Foundation in the shade 05. I have no idea if this is a colour match for me, but we are just going to go straight in and just test it out anyway. Oh wow, okay, did I do too much? So I'm just going to mix it in with the Burberry thing and hope for the best. This is very thick foundation, like, ooh. So when did I first find out I had endometriosis? I was actually diagnosed in the early part of 2020. Wow, this is very pale. But I think I've had it since I was a teenager. I first started my period when I was 11, and the first year, fine, quite normal. My period happened, a few little twinges, but it was the second year when I was at secondary school, and it started to become horrendous and painful, and just a bad time of month when it happened. Like I would have to have 3 days off school almost every single month, which is not ideal. Yeah, so it was really painful, and in the end the pain was so bad my mum took me to the doctors, and I wasn't 12 then, but a few years had gone by, and I was put on the contraception pill to try and alleviate some of the pain, which it did. But I always remember my mum saying to me, like, the type of pain I was in and how my body was reacting and how I was reacting. She went, it reminded her of childbirth. And that was when I was like 12, 13. And she was going, like, the pain you were in, you were just writhing around on the floor. She went, it wasn't like normal period pain. So yeah, let's fast forward a few years. I've been on the pill. Oh my god, I look like a ghost. So yeah, I've been on the pill and I pretty much had no symptoms, which was great. And then I met my lovely husband and we decided we wanted children. So I've done my foundation. I have found that for me it's actually really heavy coverage, like really heavy coverage. It looks a little bit cakey. So I'm hoping that the rest of my makeup can sort of dew it back out so it's not so mattified, powdery, heavy looking. And I'm hoping to do that with the new Revolution Eye Bright Illuminating Under Eye Concealer. This is in the shade Porcelain, and I also have the one in Deep Caramel because people were contouring with that one, so I really want to test it out. And then there is another one, a bright light one, so this is not like a concealer, this is like a little highlighter. Really gives me like Charlotte Tilbury vibes, so I'm gonna test that out. But first up I'm gonna go in with the concealer. So yeah, me and my husband decided we wanted children, as you do, and I came off the pill, and it took me a long while to fall pregnant with my daughter. Like, we'd planned it and we weren't together that long actually, which is actually quite crazy on how quick we planned it, but yeah, like it took a long time, to the point where we were thinking of going to the doctors and asking for help, like if there was anything wrong. And then I managed to fall for my first one, so that was brilliant, absolutely amazing, completely changed our lives. But she's amazing, she's brilliant. So I then went back on to contraception, and I found after having her that contraception and me, we just did not get on, and I started to bleed horrendously each month, and the pill was just not helping. Like, I could bleed for weeks and weeks on end and have no break, and then I might have a couple of days where I was off and then straight back on again. I was very hormonal, so the doctor put me on the implant. I was on the implant for a good, God, it must have been at least 6 months. That did not agree with me. I was very moody, all over the place. My bleeding was even more heavy and horrendous, like, and then the pain started, but it was a bit like old period pain, like from when I'd first started my period. So I was just like, oh, you know, that's normal, it's fine, it's nothing to worry about. And then a few years go by and I have exhausted almost all contraceptives that they have. So we decide, well, we want to have another child, we want to have a sibling for our eldest. So we decide to do that, and I actually fall quite quickly for her, so that's great. But during the pregnancy, I was bleeding a lot still. Like, I didn't know I was pregnant for quite a while because I was still bleeding. I was still presuming I had my periods. So the doctors were kind of worried, and I would go in for extra scans, extra growth things to make sure that she was still growing as she should. Turned out she was fine. She was a good, big, healthy baby. But I did have a few complications after the birth. Like, I bled so much that the hospital I was at don't do like blood transfusions. It's for like easy births. If you are more of a difficult birth, then you're meant to go to a different hospital. So that was a bit of a shock, and I was so close to needing a transfusion, but they were like, we don't do it here, so we just have to send you home and eat your greens, get your iron levels back up. So there was that. And that actually became the start of real pain. So I'm going to go in with the contour. Well, it's not really contour, is it? It's still a concealer, but for me, I can use it as a contour. So the real pain sort of began after having my youngest, and it just got really bad over time. So again, I tried going on a new contraceptive pill. Again, it didn't agree with me. I ended up bleeding loads. Then they tried me on the coil. I can never say it. It's the Mirena coil or Mirena coil. And they were like, oh, you know, it's meant to be really good for most women. It stops their periods, you know. Great. No, I bled for 9 months solid. No breaks, nothing. Fantabulous. And it got to the point where the pain was so bad, even with the coil in, that I started passing out. I couldn't hardly walk anywhere if I wasn't, like, I could drive, I wasn't passing out while driving. It was when I was walking. So there was this really bad day, and I'd had to go to the doctors to drop off a prescription, I think for my eldest daughter, and I'd walked back to my car and pretty much like killed over in the car park. I was like, I can't move, I can't walk. I had to phone a friend to go get my eldest from school. My youngest was with me, and I phoned my husband, and at the time he was working. So yeah, he came and rescued me, and I went back to the doctors, and she said, oh, I think your coil has slipped. So she whipped it out, and she said, perhaps we have to try something else now. Maybe the coil is not for you. And I'd been telling them this for months and months, but they were really reluctant to take it out. So I'm not doing this very well, but I don't want it to be too heavy. So yeah, after the coil incident, I noticed that the pains were still there, and they were getting a lot worse, to the point I was waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'd try and go for a wee, and my belly, it looked like I was pregnant. Literally, I was bloated out, and I was like, do you know what, I think I need the toilet, like number 2, and I'd try to go and I couldn't, because that's not what I needed. It was like, if you've had a child, you know what it means to try and bear down. It was that sort of, I need to push, but there's nothing there. Like, I'm not pregnant, there's no baby. And it was like I was having contractions, and the pain was so bad that I'd then try and crawl back to bed. And our hallway from the bathroom to our bedroom is tiny. It's literally like 3 steps and you're back to bed. And I couldn't make it. I collapsed in the hallway. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. So my husband, bless him, managed to get me some painkillers, but I refused to go to A&E. I was like, I'm not going to A&E. It's fine. It's just period pain. They're not going to do anything. And then it started to get a lot worse. Like, it started to affect my everyday life. I would keep bloating out. I mean, I'd always had quite a bloated stomach, and I never really thought much of it, but I would have good days and bad days. Like, I can go to the shop, and if I need some new jeans, if I'm having a good day, I can buy like a size 14 pair of jeans and I'm like, yeah, these fit, they're really nice. The next day I can have a really bad bloated endo belly day and those jeans don't fit me, so I have to buy like the next size up on the days when I have a really bad endo belly day. So I'd need like a size 16. And for years I was buying clothes and I couldn't figure out why I would buy them on a certain day and it'd be alright, and then the next day or a few days later when I was feeling a bit pants, that they didn't fit anymore and I just could not understand it. Next up I have a Clinique bronzer. So this is just a powder bronzer which my sister gave me a couple of years ago and I still haven't used, so I'm gonna give it a go. So yeah, the whole clothes thing was a nightmare, but it was the pain, the absolute pain used to just absolutely do me in. And then I started to get like really tired, like sort of like I did when I was pregnant. Like my body would just not want to wake up, it would just shut down. But it was just the pain. So I went out for a Christmas dinner with some mummies from the school that I was friends with at the time. And I met a mummy there, and I hadn't met her before, and she seemed really nice, and she was explaining to her other friend that we both had in common how she'd just had surgery for something called endometriosis. And I had sort of done some research on my symptoms and endo had come up on Google, but I was like, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know, it could be anything, it could just be bad period pain and I'm being a wuss. So I'm just going to use some of my Be by Superdrug Coral Blush because I do have a blush from Ellie, but it kind of looks more like highlighter, so I want to use this one. So yeah, I was listening to this lady and she was telling us all about her journey with it. And I said to her, look, can I tell you some symptoms that I have? And you tell me whether you think it's endo or whether you think it's not. So she sat there, bless her, and I cannot remember her name to this date, but I really want to thank her because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have pushed for it at the doctor's. But I told her all my symptoms and she said, yes, that is literally all the symptoms I have or had. And like my symptoms are, I get the really bloated endo belly. I really struggle to go to the toilet, like number 2, because it's pushing on my bowels. So I need to go, but I can't go. So that's fun. And I can go days. Like I think the longest I've been is a week where I haven't been able to go to the toilet, where it has been so bad. Yeah, so I get the bloating, I get extreme fatigue. So not all month, but usually when I'm spotting or I'm bleeding, I will get extreme fatigue and I will be napping all day. I will go to work and do my shifts, and I only work part-time. And I will come home and I'll be so exhausted, I will sit on a sofa and I'm gone. And when I get this extreme fatigue, like my husband's like, just go to bed. But I physically cannot make it up the stairs. Like my body and my mind are so tired and exhausted. I can't make it up the stairs. I feel sick. Like I get really nauseous. I also get migraines, which is not fun. But I have found that the Feminax tablets really help with the migraines at the moment. So that's kind of lucky in the sense that when I get one, I know I can sort of battle it away. I'm now going to go in with the Revolution Bright Light Highlighter in Pink Beam. I think this is meant to be a dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury Pinkgasm thing. Oh my god. No. Oh, so that's really pretty actually. What other symptoms do I get? I get really bad sort of adult acne now. Like I've never really been overly spotty, like even as a teenager, which might sound really strange because of all the hormonal crap that was going on in my body. But now that I'm older and my body cannot handle hormones, I'm incredibly acne prone and hormonal, and like all my breakouts are here. And whenever I've spoken to a doctor about it, they're like, yeah, that's the hormonal part, that's why you get it there, because it's your hormones. Great. Exercising, I can't exercise. So last year the lovely people at my work were doing a fundraiser for diabetes, and we had to do a 7-day challenge. I wanted to do a Just Dance challenge so I can include my children. I tried like a practice run. I was nearly dead for 3 days. Literally, I could not get out of bed. I could not move because of my stomach. And it was only dancing. I've tried doing sit-ups, push-ups, that kind of thing to try and tone my tummy for the summer. No, I've tried quite a few exercises like cycling, fast walking. I can hardly exercise. If I do too much, I'm absolutely the next few days. So I'm going to try a different highlighter as well. So this is the Wet n Wild Precious Petals one, Mega Glow. This was from Ellie, so I'm really excited to try this one. So I'm going to try this one with my normal highlighter brush. So another symptom I get is really bad back, which people sort of roll their eyes at when they say, oh, it's just a bad back. But it's not, it's sort of like a pressure at the base of my spine, and a lot of people sort of describe it as like you have a bowling ball at the base of your spine and in your pelvis, and that it just sort of sits there, and that at the moment is what's doing me in. So I had my first, I can't say the operation properly, laparoscopy, early 2020, because that is actually the only true way that they can diagnose endometriosis. Don't ask me why that's the only way they can find it. Like people have like ultrasound scans, they don't really tend to show up very much. I've had an MRI as well. Actually, I had my MRI just a few weeks ago. That one is good in finding deep endometriosis. Like, I had my laparoscopy back in 2020, and for the first sort of 6 months after that I had it lasered out, and he found it obviously around my abdomen, around my bladder, and amongst other places, so I had it all lasered. And for the first 6 months I was like, great, this is good. Not as much pain, I'm feeling a lot better, not as tired. But it came back with a vengeance during pandemic, and my back is one of the worst ones now. Like, I still get the bloating and I still get really bad pain, but it's my back. My back is what does me in. So going back to the MRI, they have discovered that I do have a clump of it behind my womb, pointing towards like my back, and obviously that's putting pressure on nerves, which is why my back aches. And it can cause my legs to ache as well, which is, you wouldn't think such a thing like that could. And another thing, I now have it all round my bladder. So for years and years I have always had a really weak bladder, and I have just presumed that it's because I've given birth, I've had children. I did my pelvic floors, but I was like, maybe I'm not doing them right. So I've always had quite a weak bladder, but it's actually because I have endometriosis all round my bladder. So the next operation I need to have is quite a scary one, because my surgeon originally found the stuff around my bladder in my last operation. He said it was too dangerous for him to do on his own. He needed a bladder specialist. So he said, if your pain symptoms are fine, we don't need to do it, but if they ever come back, we need to take action against that. So this time he's like, right, we need to sort out what's going on with your bladder as well. So him and another surgeon, the bladder specialist, are now trying to team up. I don't know when my operation's going to be. There is such a backlog after the pandemic. He said it could be any time within the next 18 months. So that's not great. Obviously I'm sitting here chatting and I need to do something with my brows, so I'm just going to use a little bit of wax and just sort of try and tame them. But if you know me and you know my channel, brows are my least favourite thing to do, but I do have a new brow product, which is the IT Cosmetics Brow Power in Universal Taupe. So yeah, I need to have the operation. I don't know when it's going to happen, and that's actually a really scary sort of prospect, that like I've been warned that if it doesn't go right, I could have to learn how to catheter myself because my bladder will no longer work for me. So that is quite scary. I also have endometriosis in other parts, which the MRI picked up. I have it around my right ovary, but the MRI only really picks up deep endometriosis. That's what I've learnt from talking to other people with endo. It doesn't necessarily pick up the more surface endometriosis, so that as well is possibly what the doctor and the surgeon are going to find when they do my next operation, which is really scary. So yeah, endo is not great. It's pretty crap. And the thing is as well, it doesn't just put strain on your body and, you know, just stress you out, it stresses friends and family out as well. Like, it can destroy relationships, because another symptom is pain when you have intercourse. So, you know, if you have a partner and you love them and you want to show them you love them, sometimes you can't, and it's hard for them to understand. Because I remember my husband, he's always been really supportive, but when we didn't know what was wrong, like, he thought I just didn't like him anymore. He thought, you know, she doesn't love me anymore, doesn't see me how she used to, and you know, it would equate to quite a few arguments, because I'd be like, I do, I'm just either too tired, or it's painful, or I bleed afterwards. The next day or two I would be on the sofa with a hot water bottle and I can't move. So now that we know what it is, he's a lot more understanding and he's very supportive. You know, if I'm having a bad day and I can't do as much, you know, he's disabled as well. He was run over in a hit and run, so when I'm having a bad day, I still have to try and fight through it and still do everything for the family, because he can't. But there are days when I'm on the sofa and I can't move, he will grab my heat pad thing that I've got that I put in the microwave, and he'll crawl over there and put it in the microwave for me and get me my painkillers, you know, that kind of thing, and help me. So, you know, it's, and as well with friendships, like, a lot of friends are like, oh yeah, I haven't told you about my brow gel. So this is the I Heart Revolution chocolate brow gel. I got it in the advent calendar, haven't used it yet. So yeah, with friendships, a lot of friendships can fall apart as well, either because friends don't understand what you're going through, or they just dismiss it, or you have to cancel for occasions where you want to meet up. And I had a group of friends, it's quite a long story, but they weren't the best. Like, something happened to my daughter and it really upset me. She has epilepsy and she had her first fit, and the friendship group I was in then completely dismissed it. Like, oh, epilepsy's not that bad. But actually it's really flipping scary when you watch your daughter having seizures and there's nothing you can do about it. So that for one really put me off them, and I started to edge away from this group. Not all of them, you know, some of them I will still say hello to, but there were a few that were just quite dismissive over it. And then again, when I started to have my troubles, I remember phoning them saying, can one of you grab my kid from school because I can't move? When they asked what was wrong, they were like, we all get that, that's just period pain, like, it's normal, get over it. But now I know that it's not, and you know, even as women and girls, they don't understand, and they are very dismissive, and they look at you like you're crazy and it's all in your head when it's not. So I'm just gonna set my base with the I Heart Revolution Salted Caramel. I would normally put powder on, but because this is quite a heavy coverage foundation and it looks kind of powdery already, I don't think I want to go in with powder today. Wow, do you know what, that setting spray actually really full on smells like caramel, almost too much caramel, almost smells like coffee, which is not a bad thing. I like coffee, but it is quite much. And I'm sorry if the mood seems a bit like this is actually quite a personal thing to me. So normally I'm quite happy and chatty and yeah, full of oomph and life, but because this is quite a personal thing to me, and like I've been quite open on my channel, like if I'm having a good day or a bad day or I haven't filmed for a few days, I will say, oh, my endo played up, this is why. So yeah, but you know, friendships, they do tend to fall apart with endo, which is crap, absolutely crap. So I need to do an eye look. So my friend Ellie gave me a number 7 Stay Perfect eyeshadow primer. I do have another one of these somewhere, but actually I like number 7, so I'm not mad at the fact that I now have 2. And it means I won't have to buy an eyeshadow primer for a long time. So let's talk about something happy. So yes, I have my endometriosis, and yes, it is a cow bag and has destroyed friendships, and maybe not it didn't destroy it, but people not understanding destroyed it. But I've actually met some really nice people over the last few years, and they are my work colleagues. So my lovely friend Claire from work, she is amazing. If I'm having a bad week and I can't meet up with her because my stomach's bad, she doesn't hold it against me. She's like, fine, we meet next week, no hard feelings there. And also my boss has been really good when I've had days where I couldn't come in. It's fine, you're poorly. And when I had to have my last operation and I had to have like a few weeks off work, they were very accommodating, which I've not experienced before. So go work, you guys are amazing. So you know, there are some positives. You do end up meeting some nice people, but you just have to try and find them. It takes a little while. So I want to do an eye look today, and the colour of Endometriosis Awareness Month is yellow. So I want to incorporate some yellow into an eye look. Might not be full yellow, it might have a hint of something else, but I thought as long as yellow's in there somewhere, can't go wrong. So this is the I Heart Revolution Pistachio Cream Palette. I've taken some awesome pictures of this because I was like, it's pistachio. I need some pistachio nuts. So I'll put them on the screen. So this is what it looks like inside. So this yellow shade here really intrigued me, and I was like, do you know what? I can create a look with that. I might even incorporate this shade in. And this shade, obviously I'm not going to be able to use all the colours in the palette because I don't want it being like too brown or too green. I want it yellow. So I'm going to go in with, what one am I going to go in with? Maybe this one here first. I will swatch it in a minute, but I kind of just want to go straight in and play with it apparently. So that's that one. Ooh. That's actually even more yellow than it looks in the pan. Like in the pan it looks kind of beige, but no, that's quite yellow too. Okay, we will have that. So yeah, I guess I'm still awaiting what the future's going to hold for me and my endometriosis story. I don't know how it's going to pan out. I know a lot of people with endometriosis eventually end up with a hysterectomy. I don't know whether that will be in my future or whether having more laser treatment will work. I don't know. You know, it's a very tricky thing. You can't plan it because you can't see it, and it's very hard for the surgeon to see it other than on an MRI, but even then it doesn't show it all because, and I have proof that it doesn't show it all because on my MRI report it said about the one behind my womb and on my ovary, but it didn't show up the endometriosis that's around my bladder. Yet my surgeon was like, well, I know that's there because I saw it when I last operated on you. So I know that the MRI does not find everything. and that's why it only finds like deep endometriosis. So, you know, I have no idea what he's going to find when he does eventually operate on me again. There's a bit of fluff on my brush, that is so rude. So yeah, I have no idea what he's going to find next time. I'm going to go in with a bit of concealer, not really to do a cut crease look, I just like it because it makes the colours pop a bit more. Like, the one thing I think I find I really struggle with endo at the moment is my back. A lot of people, it could be stomach cramps, which before my last operation, that was what I really struggled with, was the stomach cramps, and I still get them, and they do still really hurt to the point where I just want to crawl into bed and curl up in a little ball. But the back, or my back, is what hurts me the most. So, you know, it's weird how mine has sort of evolved to hurt in other ways. You know, a lot of people, when you hear about it, if they know a small amount about it, they think, oh, it's just period pain, it's just around the front, but it's not. It can affect so much. Like, there are people out there that can have it on their diaphragm, so it affects all their breathing. I mean, I even find when I'm editing my videos back that I tend to take quite deep breaths, and you can hear me going when I'm pausing, or I'm gonna say something else and I need to take another breath, I'll be like and I hate it. Like, I edit back my videos and I'm like, why can't I learn to breathe properly? So I've tried to like slow down, but I find even then that I'm still and you can still hear it. So I mentioned that to my surgeon, and he said what it could be is the endometriosis is built up around things, and it's sort of pushing, like when you're pregnant and you have a baby, it pushes everything up. So the baby's growing and it pushes everything up. So your lungs have less room and your diaphragm has less room. And he thinks maybe potentially that could be happening to me. Like with endometriosis, your organs can stick together because it's like this weird chocolatey tar consistency. It's all scarred tissue. It's horrendous. He said where it all sticks together and it pulls stuff in certain directions that they're not meant to go, he said maybe it's pushing on something that's pushed something else up. But we're not going to know till we have the next operation. So I'm going to go in with that really bright yellow and see how this looks. Oh wow, that is very yellow. And it's kind of funny because I do like yellow in eyeshadow. I'm forever trying to play around with yellows. And one of my friends the other year, she was like, please stop doing yellow. I don't think yellow suits you. I don't like it on you. And obviously I'm a little bit of a wind-up merchant, so I then went back out the next day and had twice as much yellow on my eye. You know, just to wind her up a little bit, as you do. So... but yeah, this is actually really nice and pigmented, and it kind of goes nicely with that first shade, which is within my crease area. Okay, so I now want to go in with this shade here, see what this one's like. Okay, so it seems to be just like almost a minty greeny shade. So one thing that annoys me with endo, other than being in pain and, you know, for some women as well, it can make you infertile and really struggle to have babies. So I think I am very lucky in the fact that I was able to have my children, but I did have my children at a very young age. I think if I had waited till now, I would have really struggled. But one thing that really annoys me is that even now, like, endometriosis has become a lot more well known. You know, celebrities have come forward and said they have it. There was a story on EastEnders about it. Tati Westbrook, Glam Life Guru, she has endo, and so do her sisters, and she's discussed it quite a lot on her channel. But even now, doctors are still quite dismissive over it, and if you go there and you like, I think I have endometriosis, they're a bit like, well, I'm the doctor, I don't think you have, I think it's just period pain. And other people get sort of diagnosed with IBS, but IBS doesn't cause period pain. Like, you know, so I think there still needs to be a lot more awareness, and I think doctors, I mean, I was quite lucky with mine that I've had lately, but when I was younger, they were really dismissive, and when I said, oh, this is happening and the pill's not working for me, I'm bleeding heavily, it's this, they were a bit like, are you taking it properly? Yes, I'm taking my pill properly. Are you sure you're taking it at the same time every single day? Yes. Well, you can't be taking it properly because then it would work, and this one is known to stop periods, so it should have stopped yours by now. And I'm like, but it clearly hasn't. So yeah, it is frustrating when doctors at first don't believe you, but the latter ones that I have seen have actually been quite good. Especially when I had spoken to that mummy friend of a friend, and she told me all about it, and you know, she helped me feel confident enough to go to the doctors and say, look, I think this is what I have. Actually, no, I know this is what I have, and I want you to take it further. I think what had helped is the initial, I can't take any contraception, especially estrogen prone contraception. It just messed me up. Yeah, so I'm gonna go in with this shade. It's quite a bit darker for inner corner highlight, but I kind of want to try it. You know, I think the fact that I had spent years and nothing else had worked, they were kind of at a loss and like, yeah, okay, we'll send you. And I suppose the rest is history. I met my lovely surgeon, and you know, even him at first, I think he was a bit sort of like, oh, I don't know whether it's endometriosis, it could just be something else, but he was like, you know what, because you've had so much trouble over the years, maybe we should just check it out just in case. And he did, and he found it. So I might go back in with the yellow and go under my lash line. So I'm really glad he did find it. I mean, I remember when I came out of surgery, and he came round to see me, and he was like, yep, I have found endometriosis. I have lasered as much as I can out. I remember crying because I was like, it's not all in my head, it is actually a real thing going on in my body. Okay, so I think that is the eyeshadow. I do have an eyeliner pen from Soap and Glory, Super Cat Skinny, from my friend Ellie. I'm going to put this on, but I'm going to do it off camera because I am awful at trying to do camera and this, like, it's not going to work. Okay, so this is the liner look I have done, and I also use my number 7 pencil eyeliner. So now I need to do some lashes. So I have the Bare Minerals Lashtopia mascara to test out. I got this in a goodie bag when I went to the Glamour Big Weekender event that was up in London back in November. It has sat in my drawer since then, so I was like, maybe I should try it. So it's a very nice packaged mascara. I have no idea what the wand looks like. Oh, okay, that is the wand. So Smells like mascara. Right, let's give this a go because I am in desperate need of a nice new mascara. Okay, that is the lashes. I could potentially do more on top of that, but I kind of like how they look. So lastly, lipstick. Okay, so this is something my lovely friend Claire got me for Christmas. This is by Barry M. It's the shade Neptune. So it looks blue, but I'm pretty sure it's one of those colour changing ones because that bit's blue and that bit's purple. So I'm pretty sure it must be a colour changing one. And I just thought, I didn't swatch the eyeshadow palette, did I? Maybe I'll take a picture and put it in. So it goes on blue, but I think it does change. So it's bougie, gonna try it. Thank you, Claire. So I don't think it's necessarily a lipstick, more of like a lip balm. I mean, it's definitely colour changing. I mean, on the inside it's really pink, and on the outside it's kind of purple. Possibly doesn't go with this eye look, but it is actually really funky. I really like that, that's really cool. And actually I'm thinking it is actually more like a balmy lipstick because, yeah, it definitely looks like I'm wearing stuff on my lips. So I want to take my fringe down and see what the final look looks like, and then go from there. Okay, if it's a bit sort of like smoky looking in here, I just sprayed hairspray to try and keep my fringe down because we all know how annoying fringes can be. So this is the finished look. My look for my Endometriosis Awareness Month look. Ooh, yeah, lipstick on hand. Always do that. So this is my finished look. I'm actually really happy with how this makeup look has come out. The foundation is actually not too bad. It's a lot more heavier coverage than I would wear, but it is a waterproof foundation and it's meant to be long wear. You know, the name All Nighter might suggest why it's slightly heavier coverage, but actually I kind of like the shade as well. Ellie was a bit concerned. She was like, oh, I don't know whether it's going to be the right shade for you, but I was like, don't worry, I'll make it work. So yeah, I really like that. The Burberry thing I think looks nice underneath the foundation. I'm not really that sure. Yeah, not overly sure what it did, but you know, seems nice. The New Revolution Eye Bright Concealers and Bright Light Highlight. The concealers I do really like. They're not very heavy coverage, I will say that. Like the porcelain one is really, really nice, but I find that sometimes it's alright with this foundation because it's heavy coverage, but sometimes I will have to put like a colour corrector under my eyes to give this one a bit more oomph. But I do like them. I like to contour with them. If I'm wearing like such a heavy coverage foundation like this, I think these are nice and dewy, that they can bring a bit of dewiness back to my face instead of just matte, flat kind of look. The highlight I do really like. I think that could be a good dupe for Charlotte Tilbury, although I haven't tried that, so I can't really comment. The Wet n Wild highlighter from Ellie, yeah, I really like that. It did add a nice little glow. The eye primer from No. 7, I've used it before. I do really like it. The Insta Blur from The Body Shop. very mattifying, especially with the Urban Decay foundation. I have found that my face is very matte and very heavy coverage, so I wouldn't possibly pair that up with that foundation, but if I've got more of a dewy foundation, I'll probably pair that one up with that one. But it seems to have done the trick. Pores are not as on the show as they usually are, so that is good. Okay, I need to find all my stuff. I've literally just chucked it down here. So the It Brow Power, I actually quite like that. I don't like doing my brows, but this taupe shade, it says universal, and I actually think it's not too heavy and not too dark for my natural brows. Sometimes you get like the brown brow pencil, and it can be quite dark and quite jarring, especially when you've got lighter brows like mine. So I do quite like that one. The brow gel for My Heart Revolution, clear brow gel, always a winner. I like that. The setting spray, I can still smell it now. And I sprayed that God knows how long ago, but I can still smell it. So yeah, it is a good setting spray, and I do like the I Heart Revolution ones. It doesn't say whether it's matte or dewy, but I think it's more on the matte side, which is okay. Maybe not one I use all the time, but it's fine. The I Heart Revolution Pistachio Cream Eyeshadow Palette, I really like this. I really like the look I've come up with today. I think it's very pretty, nice and yellow. I like actually how it blends from like the golden into the yellow into the green, or more bronze into the yellow. Yeah, I do really like that. The Clinique bronzer from my sister. Yeah, do you know what? That wasn't too bad. Actually quite a nice shade for my skin. I think it blended out quite nicely. And you know what? I cannot remember what else I have used. I know I used the Be by Superdrug blush, but if you watch that video, you know I like that one. So yeah. Oh, and the lipstick. I like the lipstick. It's very bougie, different. Really like it. That's a win, Claire. Thank you. So this is my look for Endometriosis Awareness Month. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's been a long one and I'm sorry for that, but you know, sometimes you just have to warble on and, you know, tell people things you think they want to know. So that is my story with endometriosis. That is some new makeup I have tested out. So yeah, I'm very happy with all of that. I guess that's me done, and I'll see you in the next one. If there are any questions you want to ask me about endometriosis or the makeup, please feel free to comment down below. You know, if you are struggling with endometriosis, you are not alone. There are some amazing people on Instagram and Facebook and support groups. If I remember, I will try to remember. I'll link the Facebook support groups down below, so you can go on there and have a chat and talk to other like-minded women who are suffering from endo, or anyone that has a uterus, basically. Whether you class yourself as female or not, if you have a uterus and you have endometriosis, go on there. It's a great place. You can really find some amazing people. So yeah, I'm going to dash because God knows how long this video is. It's got to be at least an hour, so that's going to take a while to edit. So yeah, I will see you all in the next one. Bye.